No, you don't worry about it.
No.
Hello. Sean Brady recording GRATIPROSITY with Chuck and Brian and our fabulous group of participants. Take it away.
Thank you very much, Sean. As I was saying earlier, GRATIPROSITY is what we landed on for name. We're going to explain exactly what that means. But the concept, mindful experience marketing, we really felt strong about. I do mindfulness another part of my job, and the word itself carries a lot of the things that we want to instill. And obviously, everybody wants experience. It's all anybody's talking about for millennials. It's about experience. Mercedes-Benz, it's all over their websites. They already are on board with this. So the definition that we set down, it's a cognitive, focused, and authentic act of gratitude, creating a memorable experience. So there's the mind side of it, and we're going to find out there's a feeling side of it too, that everybody has. This isn't unique to anybody. This, set aside, this is an idea we had for the presentation. We're going to have maybe a bunch of Mercedes guys sitting in a room. We thought we'd give them 3 quick quiz questions on Mercedes. And you know that all these people sitting are going to get very competitive and want to know. It's just kind of a way to break the ice. We may not do it, but this was just an idea. And we were going to go one question at a time. So, GRATIPROSITY, kind of found this old Benz. We just thought it'd be a starting point from it. Told you the definition. These are the 3 pillars of where we're coming from. The social psychology of it, the law of reciprocity especially, the neurobiology, which is really the hormones releasing when a lot of these things happen that we don't have control over. They just happen. The corporate social responsibility is huge. Every big corporation is into it. Millennials love it. There's a good stat out there that says if there's 2 companies and one's more corporately, socially responsible, millennials will lean towards that company. So I think we have some millennials maybe in here, so we could get a photo. And then the 5 senses, which everybody's got the 5 senses. If you appeal to more of them or 5 of them, your memory of that experience will be exponentially better. And Brian, share what you found yesterday, if you don't mind.
Sure. I was sitting in the doctor's office and we're looking at, thumbing through, and there's an article on Mercedes-Benz, just an ad. And the tagline on it says, it soothes the 5 senses, it drives with the 6th. So they're already using this as a 5 senses. And I'm like, I don't know where they're getting, the 5th one, like taste. But someone's trying to explain it to me, and I said, if you buy a Mercedes-Benz, it shows you have good taste. So that's where so not even being a literal meaning of the word taste, that's how they're incorporating taste into their 5 senses. We're doing it in a literal standpoint, and you'll see how we're going to do it.
And adding 2 more. When Brian said this to me initially, I was like, man, they beat us to the punch. And I called Brian, like, is this good or bad for us? He says, no, it's very good, because they've already bought into the concept. We're just taking it into the experience a little further. This probably started, who knows, months and months and months ago, right? From a marketing standpoint, we started 3.5 months ago.
Yeah, this was
I don't care what they're going to say. We had the idea, we were doing it, but we just didn't know they were doing it. Maybe great minds think alike. I don't know. So
that's what we're saying anyway.
Yeah. So from just a visual, and try to get an idea how this flows, Mercedes would be at the top. You'd be the customer. You do the job of selling the car online, in the dealership, however you do it. You're selling cars, of which you sold 380,000 Mercedes in the U.S. last year. That's a big number. And it led to luxury cars. Where we come in is here. You've purchased a car, and Brian and I were talking, you have some cognitive dissonance going on, you've got some remorse. Everybody, big item that kind of happens. A week later, this box shows up on your stoop, right? Beep, beep, FedEx guy comes up, and we're going to show you what's in it, but basically it's going to be a mindful experience. That's what we're going to give you. The corporate social responsibility we're going to talk about if we do that or don't, but again, that's an experiential thing and things people want to be part of. That would lead to what we're going to term a remarkable experience. The word being that they will remark on it. And that's social media. There's going to be Snapchat, whatever you want, Facebook. And they will communicate to their network of other millennials. Where do people get their advice on things? Millennials talk to millennials. Real quick story. Guy researching TVs, right? All weekend long, consumer guide, everything. He comes up and was like, I'm going to get the LG. Goes to a party Sunday night, and there's a tech guy there he knows, and he goes, hey, I want to talk to you. I'm going to get this new LG TV. And he goes, get the Sony. Sony's much better. What do you think you bought?
Sony.
What's Sony? all that research and everything, all this guy had to do is say, so that's how influential these folks are. And I've got 3 millennials. I can tell you that, let's just say their friends carry more than I do. So that network then becomes potentially new customers. Here's what we're going to put on their doorstep.
So we were talking about 5 senses, and actually in a literal sense about how we're going to do it. I was watching a football game last night, Mercedes-Benz, stadium, New Orleans, and the week before watching, NFL playoffs are in another Mercedes-Benz location and stuff. Mercedes-Benz is running the commercials. AT&T is a sponsor on the whole thing. I was getting kind of, I'm feeling the experience of watching the game and all that kind of stuff. The commercial comes on, I'm like, that's really cool. Maybe I got a warm, fuzzy feeling about it. I got to see it. I didn't get to feel it or anything else, but this is what we're dealing with. The promotional products industry is the only media that can appeal to all 5 senses. You can't get it with radio, print, TV. You get some of it, you don't get all of it. So this is what the thought process is going in with these products. Backpack, it's modern, it's to date, it circumvents a lot of different age groups too. I carry a backpack when I go and do trade shows and that kind of stuff. It frees up my hands if I want to go in the back, so I can keep doing this. I mean, I'm not so much of a thumb guy and that kind of thing, but I can do this. Or I use a messenger bag when I'm doing something else. But this is an easy, great carry-all. We're going to use the 5 senses here with a Sherpa-like blanket, so that's going to give you your feel. A Bluetooth Bose sound quality speaker. Taste is candy. It's a tin of candy. Disregard how the logo looks on that. That's actually going to be done as a silk screen. Those other ones are laser engraved. That's a Yeti knockoff of a tumbler, a 20 ounce. That's going to be laser engraved. And we're like, where can we get the scent? Castelli Diary is a Italian company based in Italy, a European company based in Italy, and they came up with a system for incorporating what the number 1 juice is in Europe. Anyone know what the number 1 juice is in Europe?
Wine?
That would be a great one. That's the number 1.
We should have wine.
We should have. That's the number 1 adult juice. We go that route then too.
Apple?
It is apple. And so what they did is, Castelli Diary went out to all the people around from Apple standpoint, Apple manufacturing, or where it was going to be, and they design and manufacture a 100% all apple journal. It even has an apple scent on the inside. So there's our scent, there's our smell. This particular one, I could pass this around. This one, they decided not to use the apple scent in the actual piece, but on the inside of it shows it's made 100% from apples. Actually, except for this rubber cord or two, you can bite into it. It's not going to hurt you. All the gluing on the inside too is all done with food grade adhesive. So if you want to take a bite up, maybe I'll make Johnny Roo do it tonight. Right? But yeah, if you want to take a look at this, but in tandem, I'm going to pass along with this. Most of the people in the room know Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, right? So we all know, you open it up, you always want to see who's going to get the golden ticket. So we actually did a raffling and a drawing for something like this on an invitation. This one does smell like chocolate. It's kind of fading a little bit, but what you do is, in the very back, if you want, there's a little card that's on there too, that pull it out and you can smell it. That's the scented part of it. So we're actually able to, and I hate the word literally, because it's misused and overused, but we do have all 5 senses in this box. And each one of those is in a master carton. But the nice thing is you get this bag, you're going to see in the next one, not to ruin any thunder, the Bluetooth speaker comes in its own box. The tin for the candy comes in its own box. The actual tumbler, it comes in its own box, and that's actually a tissue paper wrap piece. So you're getting it, and it's like
Surprise!
It's Christmas Day, and so you're like opening up one and doing another one too. And each time you're doing it, you're reaffirming the brand with Mercedes-Benz. And quite honestly, look, if I like the backpack and I don't need a Bluetooth speaker, I've already got 20 of them too. I hand it off to my nephew. That brand is moving with him. So we're taking all the products in there too, plus a little thank you card. If we can do something with the initial part of it, do it that way. That's kind of an ancillary step to this. But that's all of them. That's all 5 senses. That's getting everything into the cognitive sense.
The ticket's got a name on it. It says Clem Cadiddle Copper.
Love Clem.
What's the scent you're going to use for Mercedes?
Apple.
Oh, it'll be.
Yeah, it'll be apple.
Yeah, and we may tie in, actually, we thought about this. If you think about a physical apple, it's got a great visual aspect. You touch it, it's shiny, you got the rough stem. You definitely can taste it when you bite into it. You hear that crunch. There's not a lot of things I could find that have that, but that was one. Coke can's another one. Ice cold aluminum, taste. Not that that's what sells Cokes, but I'm sure it doesn't help hurt. All right, so if I'm Mercedes-Benz, I'm like, why should I do this? All right, so we talked about the experience. That's a great hook. We're going to continue that on. The law of reciprocity, nobody debates. It works. You do it subconsciously sometimes, but it's there. Gratitude is a driver. There's no doubt it will be. And if you do this authentically, for the right reasons, it'll come off that way. Now, you will get referrals and repeat business. There's just no doubt if it's communicated. You have the millennial market appeal, which part of that's the corporate social responsibility. Winks, if you want to take a couple of the mobile branding.
The mobile branding is what I just was saying too. If I wasn't going to use one of them, I gave it to somebody else. That brand is still.
How long's the bag last out there?
According to Promotional Products Association International, PPAI, which is what I'm a member of too, the average person keeps their product with a logo on it, except for a pen, for 3 years. So that's got great cachet that's right there. And then from the automotive industry, someone's actually either leasing or buying a new car every 39 months. That's always juggling with too, but we're dealing with just the luxury part of it. So mobile branding, and it's got long lasting.
Yeah, and I'm more likely to throw a Mercedes symbol on my back than a Sherman paint or something. You still got cachet. Everybody likes to talk about it.
Social media friendly, we already kind of talked about that one too. That's kind of a no-brainer. We're instilling the loyalty and trust, with the consumer when you're receiving that one too. It's like, hey, this is really cool. But then it's a referral part. We kind of mentioned that one before. So it's cyclical. We're going to say, hey, I could tell somebody to go buy whatever, and using Chuck's example of buying a Sony over an LG, and then you've got the consumer social.
Yeah, so I want to go back and talk about loyalty and trust a little bit. And when we talk about this at the meeting, we'll kind of have to gauge the audience if they're interested in this. We don't want to go over their head, but the marketing people should be. There's some great empirical data out there, and there was an article in Psychology Today that said the number one thing people want in marketing companies is trust. That's no shocker, right? Gratitude will link with trust. There's just no doubt. It's the way it works. It's how our head works. And then loyalty is driven by gratitude. So there's a natural link of these things happening. So we're touching all of them. Now, will everybody that gets one of these be brutally loyal to Mercedes? Absolutely not. But if you put 100,000 bags out there with 100,000 Mercedes emblems on them for 3 years, that alone should get your attention. Finally, the CSI. Talked to some of you guys before about that. This is the Bible for auto dealers. It's the J.D. Power ranking, comes out annually, and they live and die by it. Anything that can get them higher up they'll look at. And they're split by hairs, but there's some gaps in there too. Some of the people you think would be up there are not. But some of them, BMW is always in the top 5. And we'll be sure to kind of maybe put up a slide showing that, because say Benz doesn't bite on this. We're down the road to BMW, Lexus, Audi, Volvo, Porsche, Jaguar. We're just starting here. This we probably won't put in. If you want to.
Yeah, this was just an example that Chuck had put in here from proof of concept. We found this article, and I know the company that was actually doing the actual manufacture of this one too, but this was done in China for Porsche. So they're kind of taking in the same aspect that we're doing. But as we talked in an earlier meeting, it's got hand sanitizer. It's going to have
napkins and water in there.
That kind of
real
stuff.
exciting stuff.
So there it goes, and it's a nice box. What? I'm going to be appreciative if I'm going to get it. If I'm buying a Porsche or whatever too, fine. But that stays in the car. It's not mobile. It's not showing anything else. It's not dealing with the 5 senses. Yeah, I'm getting that sense of gratitude on it too, but we want to go beyond that as well. We're going to perpetuate this thing as fast as we can, or to as many avenues as we can, and that's why ours outweighs what they did. And from a cost standpoint, if it was apples, bad pun, if it was apples to apples on something then too, from a pricing standpoint, we're actually at a profit margin, or not a profit margin, we're actually the cost value on this one too. It's about the same with all of this.
It's a nice box, and they got close to getting it right. You're going to get it right. You're going to hit them all.
That one, by the way, sorry to interrupt, that one really wasn't social media worthy either. No one's going to say
Yeah,
that
who's
right
going to
now.
look at my box and with the tissue and water in it? Oh, okay. So again, Mercedes being the center of everything. We're starting, ideally, this is obviously process driven. We would ship pallets to wherever you want them, distribution centers, which are all over the country. We feel, based on research, is that you drive this from the corporate level, because in all essence, dealerships are going to mess it up. There won't be consistency, they'll be walking out the door, whatever. But the minute you buy a car, which doesn't surprise you, your name is associated with all your information, it goes into a database. All they have to do is pull it up, boom, whatever it has to do to get down, and a physical bag goes out. So you hear the beep beep, comes to the FedEx guy, there's your surprise and gratitude. Everybody loves that. And then there comes your sharing. Pretty easy. Again, I can't pound this in enough, that this stuff's hardwired. We're just all this way. And you may not think so, but a lot of it's subconscious, you guys. I'm learning that a lot of what we do is subconscious. So why not leverage it? You know, I'm not saying we're doing this for the right reason, but let's not kid ourselves. We want to sell more Mercedes. But you've already sold one, right? We're just kind of pulling it through the experience afterwards. Show gratitude, gain that trust, and the loyalty will hopefully follow. Loyalty programs, it'd be interesting to see what you guys think. Is a loyalty program about the customers being loyal to the brand, or the brand being loyal to the customer?
That's deep.
I think one's dependent on the other.
Right.
What's that?
I think one's dependent on the other.
Yeah, so
Is loyalty.
yeah, well,
Will you ask the question again?
so if you're Mercedes, right, and or not that, let's say you're Beamer, and you have this loyalty program. Are you doing the loyalty program so they're loyal to you? You're saying, hey, Bri, here's coupons, but I really hope you're loyal to BMW. That's one aspect. That's what 2/3 of the people think. Or is it that Beamer's giving you stuff because we're loyal to you as a company here? So it's get versus give. 2/3 of everybody does it the wrong way. They're totally disconnect. They're wanting something back where Mercedes is going to give it out. 1/3 of the people get that right. At the end of the day, most of these people don't care. They take the coupons and go anyway. These aren't coupons.
There was no question there. Well, there was no question there. You have to ask the
It's
question
kinda
again.
rhetorical.
But
Just-
I guess you got rhetorical
Are
questions.
loyalty programs
Oh.
for the brand,
mhm.
or are loyalty programs for the customer?
Yeah.
So the brand being loyal to the
Loyalty programs
customer.
are a mechanism or a vehicle to change customer behavior.
Okay.
So it's to incent another trip, it's to get them to spend more money. So that's
It's
what
to benefit the
incentive-
company.
It's all the kind of the value proposition.
Mhm.
And people are inherently loyal to the brand, inherently loyal to the experience.
What they're saying is
But all
millennials
of
see
it
right
has
through
to-
that.
All of it's a mix. I mean, there's the whole mix of your marketing mix as in terms of the totality of it and the balance across all the various elements is really important. Loyalty proposition is a key component of that.
What I would say, I totally agree, is the millennials may have a little different approach than traditional. They're a little different how they look. They don't look at ads, for one. They don't trust anybody unless you really show them that you're trusted. And they'll see right through that. They'll take the coupons or whatever you give, but it's probably not going to drive what you think it is. They're not a bunch of loyal people. But millennials think a little different about everything. Are they always right? I don't know, but they're running the show. 70% of them out there are going to be buying Mercedes. I mean, it's the fastest growing segment or cohort of people they have. But
Just one more thing to add
yeah,
to that.
yeah, absolutely.
If you strip away all the incentives and the promotional rewards and
Mhm.
points and all that good stuff, and then obviously brand is really important to make a connection. It all comes down to personalization. So if you're able to make a connection, if you're able to
You're
start,
exactly right, Brent.
the building of a relationship, that in itself is going to be the sustainable piece to long-term loyalty.
You're like verbatim. Millennials wants things customized. You're exactly right. So, not to say that when we talked about the letter, this is where the perfect segue. We may or may not do this. The corporate social responsibility. We talked to a lady today that's head of the Kids in Need Foundation. It's all U.S. based. What do they do? $1 billion.
$1 billion next year is what they received in donations.
It's big
When
time.
the numbers came in all last year up to that.
12 people work there.
That's it.
That's it. Well, it's U.S. based, tough years, right? So what they deal with is everything related to schools. That poverty-stricken kids get everything they need, right? Just happens to be backpacks. So if Mercedes wanted to get involved one way or another, and we were asking Bruce about this, that for every GRATIPROSITY bag they gave out, they also donated a free backpack to Kids Foundation.
Or they had a backpack donated.
Yeah, we're trying to find out tax-wise and how it all works and everything. We're not going to find out anything. all the credit will go to Mercedes. If it's on behalf of Gratiprosity, it's Mercedes. It's about them doing the right thing. Now, I just put this on there, but the Porsche people did it only on one model. They were pushing a certain model, so they only gave that gift box to the ones who were getting spiders or something. So I'm not going to put it on there for that reason alone. If they want to just do it on SUVs, God bless you. That's 28,000 SUVs. I'll take 28,000 bags with our margins.
We want to go across all bands, so if you're looking at what's a millennial buying it from a Benz standpoint, when we graduated from college, people weren't buying Benzes, everyone was buying BMWs, because that's where they were really tapping in. But to the personalization aspect of it too, this is where we can combine and take that personalization part of it too on that letter
Did you
and have a
go
name
to
on
that
it.
college? What's that?
You buying BMWs out of college?
No, I had a 76 Datsun B210 with a rusted out floorboard.
Nice. Sounds like a song.
That was one I had in college. Probably was your.
Well, the high end of millennials now is like 40. So they're there. They're usually on their second, third job. I mean, there's plenty of people. We're not going to call Mercedes. The research is out there.
I should have said
35%.
buying. I should have said wanted to buy the vehicle. No, you're right. But then it was going. There was one. Someone. She drove up. It was funny because we were at a wedding and it wasn't Chuck's wedding. We were sitting there and walked in and it was a 190. Benz. Nice. It's a Benz. And I made a stupid comment because my folks had a 450 SL and I'm like, what? Couldn't spring for the 450. And I was being kind of a jerk, but the look on this girl's face, she thought that I just killed her puppy or something. But she bought the Benz, the 190, because that's what she wanted. She had that the thing that was on her too, and this is 30 years ago, or probably 10 years ago. I'm dating myself.
You started talking about the letter. So one option we had was, to your point, how do we customize it to them? The letter, we don't know what's going to say, but basically, for you buying a car, we appreciate it. Here's Gratiprosity. Here's a nice bag with all these things in it. And we're going to donate a bag, your name, personalized on the letter. So now, is that media friendly or social media friendly? Maybe. But again, personalize it to their name, to the book bag, or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to hold back on this because if they don't want to do it, it saves us some money. If they want to do it, it's already built in.
I wish we looked at a couple of things with variable data by saying, can we do personalization on the actual product itself? It's cost prohibitive at that particular point.
Your customization's right on it.
It can be done, but it's done in batches as opposed to.
That's where he comes in really nice about batches and how many and shipping and So, car buying's changing. We know that it's heading towards 80% online. That's where it's going. Guess what's not changing? The act of surprise, the 5 senses, and gratitude. We're all hardwired for that. That's it. Oh, I thought this was a cool slide. Everybody's, if you're not, check it out. The Bean in Chicago at Millennial Park. They say that this whole senses and perception thing is really, really untapped in marketing. And Bruce was making a good point. You got car dealers still putting out newspaper ads and on radio. Guess what? Millennials don't read the paper. If they don't listen to the radio. So they're really, not Mercedes, but the regular dealers, that's why we didn't start there. They're way behind the times because the guys holding the leaderships are boomers with gray hair. Until that flips, I don't think it's going to change.
It's going to be millennial boners with gray hair.
What's that? All right, so that's what we had. So this side of the room was, again, the recipient of the bag, and this side was Mercedes. You guys fire away, because that's what we're here for.
So the first thing I would say is that you're creating an experience, which is good, but I feel like you need a way to, and maybe you already have this considered, but deliver the story about each item. Because when you describe the thought that you put into each item and why, there's something there, and whether it's a DVD or something that comes along with it, because I think you could produce a DVD pretty cheap. That really says, maybe from the corporate headquarters or the president of the company or something like that, that says, thank you for buying your Mercedes. Yeah. Here's just a sign of our gratitude, and then explain what's in the bag and why.
And those are pretty unique. I mean, there are descriptors for all those things. We just dropped them out.
One of the things that you touched on when you were talking about millennials is the kind of the anti-corporate type of attitude.
They don't trust anybody.
So that being said, raises the question is, would it be pretentious or expected that I'm a millennial kid walking around with a Mercedes backpack on with my name on it, or not my name on it, with this big Mercedes emblem on my backpack?
Well, as far as big, it's subtle. And I think for the same reason you walk around, how much does University of Michigan cost to go to? $60,000 a year? I'm going to wear a Michigan hat all day long. That's just pretentious because I had to go to a community college.
I understand.
Yeah, so they're going to do it, you guys?
I think that's kind of apples and oranges, though.
We're not looking at, in all honesty, it's a subset of the millennials that we're after. We're not after all millennials because they're not buying Mercedes. We probably got maybe 30% can afford them and they're going to get it.
Mm-hmm.
They don't care about that stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I think, George.
I
love your question.
It is a
I
great
love
question.
Chuck's reply, though. The same school pride that you're eliciting, they're looking to elicit brand loyalty pride.
Sure.
I think it was that was a
Great
very
question.
cool, great question and a great response.
Mm-hmm.
It seems,
And that's
Point
what we
each
need.
side.
That's what we need, yeah.
it seems there also could be the point that you're working to establish something to go after millennials who, their parents are buying them the car, or they're buying the car, but more importantly, they might be called millennials today, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, they're still millennials, but they're going to be 40, they're going to be 50, All right, so they're considered millennials, yet now you're looking at someone who's 22 years old in 10 years, maybe their first car was their father's pre-owned Mercedes. And when they're 32 and they go out to buy a car, they choose to buy that Mercedes. No longer are you talking about the college grad who couldn't afford to buy the Mercedes. You're talking someone who, did the undergrad, did the master's, has a good job, is making the choice to buy the first car, and now they're getting their first brand new Mercedes.
Sure.
That kind of a point. Just to that, because when we think of millennials, sometimes we can think of them just in today versus who they're going to become.
Mm-hmm.
And I think who they're going to become is what scares Mercedes a lot more than who they are today.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Sorry, but to that point, we're looking at, I'm the last year of the baby boomers. I'm a 64. So from 46 to 64, sometimes those numbers are changing. The first year of baby boomers at 46 and me at the last year at 64, our perception of putting us all in that group as a boomer, it's 18 years difference, right?
It's a big difference.
So exactly right.
Like using Facebook and unable to use Facebook.
Exactly right. So my wife,
How do I attach a file versus I can attach a file?
Correct. My wife is the last. She was born in '81. So someone always asked me, "Am I a good salesperson?" I said, "Yeah, my wife's 17 years younger than that." Like, what's your picture? But we were talking about this exact same thing. She just bought. Okay, so she's 36. She could have bought almost any car that she wanted to. And she bought a Lexus, and she said, "Why? Why'd you?" Because it was perfect for what she had. She did her research, but she's that outside of the millennial thing that only by a couple of years. So to your point is exactly great. What is the perpetuation of this model and how is it going to go through? And in all of this, when we're looking at the 5 senses part of it then too, that part never changes for anybody.
You're very interesting because I think different as a boomer, baby, just real close. I know I think differently now than I did when I was 23, 24. And it evolved. And I can predict how I think now because it's not experience. I have wisdom. The good news is, let's look forward. Gen Zs, I don't know how much research you've done on them. The oldest Gen Z right now is 22. Guess what? 5 years, they're getting close. They have a lot of the same characteristics. Some different, some are good different. More work ethic for one. But they're still going to have those psychological, neurobiology issues. I mean, that part's not going to change. And maybe we'll be flying around in cars in a year or 2 in 10 years, I don't know. I know Mercedes is extremely deep into electric cars. I mean, that's their future. I mean, it's all about that. So that's one other thing. Boomers still buy about 50% of Mercedes. And they probably have 3-4 cars left in their life. That's what they say. So if you got a Benz now and you're 58, pretty good chance, unless they screw it up, you're going to buy another Benz. This will only strengthen it, right? Because this isn't unique to millennials, but we're going to target towards millennials for a couple different reasons.
What is that reason? Like, why, when you're walking into the room, are you assuming that the people, that us at Mercedes, care most about millennials?
It's all over the websites, yeah. It's all the research and everything.
Okay, good.
Yeah, because we talked to a guy named...
Just wanted to double check
No.
where it came from.
It's funny, there's an ad out right now. It's a whole campaign about
I
millennials.
just feel like we just get left out. You feel it? When we get left out, they're either talking about the baby boomers or the millennials. Like Gen X doesn't exist anymore. Like
George, I'll be honest with you. They don't care about X.
Yeah, because we kind of
general
crashed
sense
the
of X
economy.
is they're even more cynical and disloyal. It's not their demographic. It's not their demographic.
I've just got a couple quick points, and then that way I can shut up and let everyone
No,
else
this is
talk.
great. Please do.
I just get the bag.
You got the bag, you're
I already
out.
got the bag.
I would take the bag.
Bye,
I'm
George.
good.
I would consider
I have a
changing
question,
changing mobile branding to either brand portability or portable branding. The
Nice.
marketing folks in the room, when you say mobile branding, their minds are going to jump to mobile ads, and they're going to jump to Facebook ads, and they're going to jump to mobile apps. Portable or portability. Portability is kind of nice because it's like brand portability. I kind of like that one more than portable branding, but that's up to you guys.
We'll change
Good
that.
point.
That's actually in the
Very
issue
good
then,
point.
too. To your point, there's
You gotta
three
talk
different
ideas,
things that
right?
people are doing, and that's one of them. I just put it up because we changed it. It said, earlier it said backpack branding on it, so change it. So I put
Yeah.
mobile in there too, so that
What
was.
about branding longevity?
Brand longevity is different than brand portability.
Then he
You can
goes
have
on.
both, but they communicate different things.
Right.
Brand longevity is going deep with a single person, and brand portability is going wide through their
You had him
network.
in the
That's good. That's a good piece.
Brand
I
portability,
understand that.
brand portability is the way to go.
Okay, so cool. And let me just run through this really quick. Another thing is that when you're talking about branding after the sale, and that term, as far as I know, was coined by David Breyer, who wrote a book called Brand Intervention that came out recently. And branding after the sale is a great concept, which is completely unexpected. No one told them the gift was coming.
Yeah.
Their car salesman didn't tell them you're going to receive this. Very intentionally, it's like no one's allowed to tell the consumer this is coming. But that branding after the sale point, you might even incorporate that term, branding after the sale. You might, it's worthwhile.
Do you think after sale though? Because we toiled with the word after sale.
Just surprise and delight.
Yeah, it is
That's
surprise
a
delight
Mercedes
branding.
thing. Surprise and delight.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's surprise and
I
delight.
can use
Yeah.
some of that.
Good. We got that right.
Some surprise and afternoon
Where are we
delight. So,
Mike's busy today, so.
okay, I would, as Mercedes, I would personally like to see a little bit more around encouraging sharing. You talk about kind of, when I say sharing, I mean social media sharing.
Mhm.
I would love to see kind of something that's going to be done to encourage them to share it on social media. I think branding after the sale is important because then the person is more likely to say, oh my gosh, just got this, blah, blah, blah. So that's one point. Do you, and this is, we don't have to talk about all of them, I'm just going to say it. Do you expect Mercedes to say, well, how can we shift the cost on this to the dealers? Whether or not that would come up from an operations standpoint. You mentioned that millennials don't look at ads. That's not true. They do look at ads online and they do click them. So I would
bad.
watch
Print
what you
ads,
say.
yeah.
If you have a marketing person in the room who has convinced the CEO to spend $50 million on online ads to target millennials, and you say they don't look at ads, you're going to piss that guy out or woman off, and they're not on your team anymore on doing this. So I would,
If I specify
They weren't
print
on
ad,
Motor Trend.
print ad, does that make a difference when I said it that way?
yeah. Here's the
Just
thing though.
avoid
Like
it.
you could also just not say it because
Yeah, just
statistically,
avoid it.
it's not true. However, the majority of people don't click ads. The majority of people don't respond to direct mail. The majority, that's just true. I mean, forever, the majority don't. It's always been the minority. It's always been between 1% and 30%. It's never been 80% of people click our ad. Who the heck can say that? So you're also kind of saying something that is, yeah, it's true. Better would almost be to say something along the line of and for the portion of your ad budget focused at service after the sale and getting them to choose Mercedes for their servicing of their vehicle, which we know is big for the dealers, we believe that these products will assist those ads to be more aware to them. Or something. It's almost like flipping is the reason why they should. Product ideas, driving gloves. Just wanted to toss that out.
Number one profit center is service. You're exactly right.
Right, so-
we were. Yeah, I think Mercedes wants to hear that. Probably not end user type of thing. But if I can drive service through this, yeah, it's great.
And it's just you're at that point you're planting a seed and getting the CMO who chose to buy into an online ad strategy. You're actually getting them on your side by mentioning that this can help with their ad strategy and driving service for profitability. I think driving gloves are a pretty good product idea.
Isotoner makes ones that are heat. When you put them on your car, I wear them. I
Yeah.
have them. They were just cost prohibitive for the overall thing.
Okay, so you want it. It's the obvious one, but they're really expensive.
We'll put it in a Lamborghini back.
Yeah.
Got it. That's fine.
But
No, that's great.
They're great, and if you've never used them before, try them. Because this morning I was in, it was in Peoria, but it was extremely cold, I'm trying to change the channel from
Yeah.
one to it. I had to put my gloves on because the heat goes through and then it works on the screen. It's a great selling item.
Okay.
So thank you.
I want to piggyback on what Matt's saying, because Chuck, you have a tendency to say some absolutes.
Yeah,
And some stereotypes.
Never always, yeah.
Yep, and I just think if you are presenting to corporate, I'd just be careful not to
Good.
do anything that's.
The other thing-
It's a higher level
But he
sort of
goes,
thing.
he goes the exact opposite way too, Chuck. This is one of my pet peeves. You say basically a lot of times. And I think that's a negative connotation that you don't, it sounds like you really don't know what you're trying to get across when you say basically. It works like that. So I think trying to get rid of basically out of your vocabulary could be very helpful too, because it shows that you're more convicted of what you're actually saying.
This all stuff, there's so much data out there, and I could go crazy with it. Some of these guys may like that. It just wasn't appropriate for slides. So if I refer to the data that's out there, and I could cite certain magazines, because you can find anything you want out there, Forbes, Harvard Business Review, all those kind of things. So it related to the data versus would that be more convicted that it's really? I just didn't do that. Yeah.
Well, that's funny. That's one of my things. I'm going to be brutally honest with this one. I didn't get a mindful experience from this presentation. It seemed real basic to me. The presentation. It doesn't have a lot of color. Doesn't have a lot of pictures. It's not telling a story like Brian's saying. I think even if you can do a little video, I just didn't get a mindful experience from the PowerPoint. I think it needs more pictures and colors. I do think dotting it with some data from millennials being more conscientious about how they're affecting society and so on and so forth, that would be good, rather than just saying everybody. You made a comment, something to the effect, everybody knows that millennials, through research, want to be affecting society. Have examples of how the presentation is going to actually enhance the 5 senses. So when you have those 5 examples during the presentation, I would hand those out at that exact time.
Oh, we're going to have the
Yeah.
To incorporate the 5 senses into the
Into
presentation.
the
presentation, yeah.
We have that actual.
They passed the book
produced
around.
Right now, actually. So
Yeah.
A lot of content, yeah.
This is pretty obvious. I think a lot of people in the room, you can't read the cognitive focus box when it came in on the slide.
Yeah, this isn't a fight. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good though.
I would, to Adam's example, I would show examples of Instagram, Facebook, and Snapchat posts.
We had that. We cut it.
Yeah, and actually in the bag, show examples of that. I think that's what you were saying.
That's easy. We got it.
Do you have any pictures?
I think you ought to put, if you're trying to do gratitude, why not also engrave thank you on each one, or emboss thank you on each one. Mercedes, thank you. I would consider doing that.
I think.
Because every time you see it, you say, "Oh, Mercedes was thanking me for doing that."
Well, we asked Mercedes if they wanted that.
Oh, okay, yeah, ask Mercedes.
Yeah, we could put, there's actually, there's a lot of different things that they're using for the print ads too. Sometimes they put Mercedes-Benz on it, sometimes they don't. We can do whatever they want. It's no big deal.
And I think the other thing for
But I think
mindfulness.
Bruce's point is, you're coming at it from branding gratiprosity, make this product look gratiprosity, and having a brand associated with gratiprosity, like a thank you, shows gratiprosity both directions.
Yeah, there's a little card in the bag, but we could emphasize that a little bit more.
Yeah,
sure.
Because we do try to make the point, which I don't think we did. They're actually practicing reciprocity.
Exactly.
Right.
They're doing it. And you would hope that the social aspect of the person getting a Mercedes is kind of getting that idea. That they're kind of that way anyway, but you feed right into what they want. But I don't think we made a good point of them practicing reciprocity. Now, that's a term we came up with, and they can find all they want about law of reciprocity, gratitude, and sight. I don't think it will, because
No, I don't think you brand gratiprosity on it, but by branding a word like thank you.
Yeah, okay.
We're grateful.
That's gratitude, right?
Grateful,
Yeah.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
There's
Well, that makes it authentic, John.
There's a
Yeah.
big article on LinkedIn last few. It's been shared about Chick-fil-A is blowing away the industry right now, and it's simply because they have taught their there are people that always say please and thank you.
My pleasure, my pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
the driving they're phenomenal. Yeah.
and then the final thing is, I am big on mindfulness. Tom Mickler has incorporated that into us. But once again, I don't know from a Mercedes people, unless you have some stats on the hard wiring on it, I think it would be very helpful to have at least one example of this release of research that shows the release of oxytocin.
Yeah, we got brain
I cut it off. I made it.
I had to get down to 10 slides, guys.
Well, that doesn't mean I'm right. I'm just saying.
You said 10 slides?
Well, taking out the top and bottom. So we had 18 guys. And we just wanted to make it streamlined, but your points are
Matt,
great.
you have a couple others very good.
See, we felt like there were a fair amount of pictures. That's interesting.
Matt's got a couple more, and then I'll
Yeah.
he's happy to summarize.
Your finish wasn't very strong. It could be a lot stronger. One idea is finishing with a statement or a question. So an example would be the final slide says something like Mercedes-Benz, and then underneath it, the word forever appears. And the whole thing that you're trying to communicate is, again, repeat customer. So it's, and you could that could appear at the same time as you asking some kind of a question, around the concept of, the challenge was to blah, 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 and we feel that this will do that and blah, blah, blah. And it says like Mercedes-Benz forever or something like this. And it creates for them watching it, creates kind of a psychological thing. Better than a PowerPoint would be a full-blown video, of course.
Yeah.
Even if it was like 2 minutes long, and even if it was boom, 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 and then you had it. But that's that. And one last point, and then I'm actually 2 last points. So there's still a YU point that comes up, but the YU point comes up more from an operational efficiency standpoint, and thinking to myself, okay, cool. So I'm on the operations guy, or should I say gal, human. And you are presenting me with this, and are you really going to be able to handle the amount of distribution and customers and the number of countries I need to go into?
We're not going global
and
yet. Yeah.
are you? What is the plan? What is the rollout? Is there a little bit of, talk to me for a minute. Tell me, we have the ability to scale starting at these markets at a time, and over a phased rollout of this period of time, we'll scale into these areas and blah, blah, blah. Give me a bit of a, why the heck should I use you as a middle person when I'm Mercedes-Benz and I could try to develop this direct and assign to some people?
Mr. Wonderful.
You get what
Mr.
I'm
Wonderful
saying?
just showed
So
up.
why are you, aside from the products and the idea, how are you making this such an amazing experience for me as the person that cuts the check, that I cut it and I don't even have to worry about it because you're going to integrate seamlessly in how that rollout's going to go? It's not why you as humans, it's why your business is the right fit for Mercedes in terms of the core values of Mercedes, and how your company and Mercedes-Benz, actually they fit really well together, and here's why, and here's how you're going to make it easy for me. I'm going to cut this check and you're going to take care of it. It's not why you as a human, you covered that. It's why your business and Mercedes-Benz should be partners. Why I shouldn't go, that's a great idea, I'm going to call Bobby over at Merritt's. You get the point there, right? So it's that point. It's something to ponder on. And the last point,
I think you hit on that in the
Okay.
presentation that we did before.
I'm
And I'm still with that.
there's an elephant in the room, which is Tesla. And I'm worried about millennials, but in terms of my baby boomers, I'm worried about them switching to Tesla. So
The
that
numbers
could
aren't there
either.
yet. They're there. They're like this, but
It doesn't matter if the numbers are there. Trust me, I'm worried about it.
Matt knows the numbers.
Okay.
I'm telling
Yeah,
you.
but
Matt is a representative of corporate.
Yeah, exactly.
Mercedes-Benz
Elon Musk
corporate.
is on my speed dial.
I'm sure
No,
they invest millions of dollars in consumer research, and
Tesla,
they
oh my
have.
God.
You have-
Oh, no,
you
I'm
have
not saying that.
You have 2 ways to go about it.
You're on the
One
wrong
is you
side.
totally ignore Tesla.
I'm a
The other one is you
customer.
somehow hit it head on, right? But the numbers aren't there yet. Yeah, the numbers also weren't there to re-land reusable rockets and send them back into space again. The numbers weren't there. Now they're like the cheapest thing to do. But trust me, if you have some way to position yourself against or above, especially above Tesla, while Tesla may be the hot brand, Mercedes is clearly reliable and blah blah blah. Something.
Sustainable, yeah.
Something. I don't know. You can completely ignore it, but if you do bring it up, it better be brought up in the right way. But I wanted to mention it because if you were working at Mercedes, would you not be worried about Tesla at all? Would you not be thinking about why is Mercedes going electric?
Oh, yeah. They're all over.
Is it because Tesla exists or doesn't? If
Oh,
Tesla didn't
they're-
exist, would they still be
they're
going
behind
electric
it already.
today, or would they? You know
They
what I'm
wouldn't be
saying?
scaling this
Yeah, so
fast.
GM
What-
says,
They wouldn't be
GM says
scaling
they're
this
committed to
fast.
only electric cars by the
And
year.
You're telling me that would have happened if Tesla's 3 hadn't have sold 400,000 in a
Somebody
few.
had to bust it.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Are you still asking as a Mercedes corporate representative?
I'm asking it. Yeah. Well, I'll shut up. It's not really. But
You guys, this.
That's a good question.
Tesla in this presentation.
Yes.
I'm saying they either have to address it really strong or very intentionally ignore it. But if
Why
they,
wouldn't we
I
go
don't
with
think.
this?
How would you address Tesla in this presentation?
I don't have a great idea on it yet. I want to
Send
find
a pack
out.
of batteries?
Mercedes has to know everything there is to know about Tesla, every which way. But Sunday,
They have purchased Teslas and they have literally taken the car apart bolt by bolt.
So my
This the
point
fact.
is-
But the question is,
Are they addressing
is-
Tesla though? Because they're going electric.
right. But
Their electric stuff's huge.
so
Yeah.
in the role playing exercise, this
The
side of the
original.
table was Mercedes-Benz corporate,
Yeah.
Right.
who is armed at the teeth with every statistic by generation, knows what their likes, dislikes, behaviors, what their competitive set looks like, how the
Right.
competitive set is moving in terms of product development and innovation. So that's the audience. The audience is that they know more than you do.
We're not going to tell many of the millennials.
Yeah,
We're not
so
going to tell one
like-
thing about millennials that they don't know.
Just to reinforce some of the feedback that has been given is that there are statistics that are given. There's generational. They're generational statements that are made.
Stereotypes.
Some are stereotypes. Some are whatever they are. But Mercedes-Benz has to be quantitative in terms of how they think about the decisions they make in every aspect of their business. And I think Matt said it great, which is, why should we partner with you? What's the benefit to us? I'll make the determination what the benefit to our consumers is. That's the role of corporate.
Because they're excellent marketing people.
Well, no, because it's their company. They're the ones that want to engender the loyalty with their customer base. You guys are providing a product that's going to allow me or help me do that. So how is that going to happen? It's up to me on how to deploy it, how to execute it.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Yep.
Yeah, you're making the point easy.
So
yeah.
that's the middle. I guess you had the $1 million question, which is why should we partner with you?
I had all the stats.
But I already have the bag,
Would
so
you
I'm
put
happy.
their own stats in the slide? I mean,
I would
It
not
just shows
focus
that
on
It's not,
stats.
it's not the stats.
no, but
yeah.
millennials. I mean, if
I
you're
wouldn't focus
not
on
that either.
stats or millennials.
Like you just said, you're not going to tell them anything
Capabilities.
about the millennials that they don't
Where
already know.
Ramp up.
where we're going to go.
It's
I guess
it's capabilities,
I'll go with your
it's
why.
price, it's relationship as a provider, as a vendor. Here's how we can grow with you. Here's how
how
we
we're not
can
gonna
scale
fuck
with
you
you.
over.
Here's how we're going to fulfill your orders. Here's all the things.
why part of it. And all the
Cooperation, you're thinking. I mean, that's you got to make it easy.
Yeah. Why don't we go into merit stuff? I mean, I was actually, you were putting it out there as a why, as a bullet point. I was sitting there going, ready to answer the questions on certain things too. But I'm not going to say, about this experience is here then too. I would say this is me answering your question at a certain point. Maybe this isn't the final all because I'm just spitballing here too. But when we were doing this thing and we were putting things together and we're doing things logistically and Chuck was calling me and I'm sitting there going, why does he know that? I had 25 years experience on the supplier side and doing things. And when I'm running something and I'm saying it's going to be turnkey, and I was always the man behind the curtain. There was the distributor that was there selling to an end user. I sat there and said, you don't have to worry about anything. I'm taking care of everything on the back end. You go out and you look good. Because I'm doing the Vidal Sassoon approach. If you don't look good, we don't look good. I've already streamlined it where it's a single manufacturing under 8 different brands. The actual FOB on this point in too is Washington, Missouri, with another FOB point was California, but all fulfillment is done and completed here. It's sitting there ready to go. Minimums are established, price points have already been established then too. As you grow with this one too, and it's scalable, pricing can actually have, if that's a question to you, Mr. Mercedes, it can actually have a great thing. We can drive pricing down basing on volume on certain things then too. But let's not forget what we're looking at here too is extending the brand, in a portable way, and that kind of stuff too. So why us? Well, it's simply because I've worked on these programs too, and I've done them with Coca-Cola, United, Steel, Allstate. I said I've run them. I said I've produced them. Somebody else has taken the ball and run with it. I, being the man behind the curtain on this one too, already had the experience on doing it. I've already done the groundwork on it. We'd be safe in writing the check that everything's done. On top of that, the one thing that's most important and prevalent in today, it's not only about pricing, that kind of stuff. What's coming down to it is on the Consumer Product Safety Index. Everything is CPSIA, everything about what's coming in. You can't pick up, watch TV or look online or a mobile app or something too and not see that there's a million-piece baby recall because the things are catching on fire. No testing was done on these things. 100,000 baby bottles in plastic manufactured in China were recalled because it contained too much lead. There was no BPA statistics, anything was done on it. Every product in our bag, everything has been tested to the nth degree, meaning international and national certifications for all CPSIA. That's
where's that story?
Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Can I have a question? Can I have a
that's
question?
You know,
I just got one question.
The only thing I would add to that is stating, and assuming you started today, your customers could be receiving this by.
Yeah.
You see that, like
Understood.
let's say it's March.
No,
You're like, from the point where we roll out, we're projecting that your first customers can receive it by June, or whatever, something that makes them go, okay, so if I said yes today by June, this thing, whatever that is, and that's all I've got.
I got a question.
And the answer to that question too is 10 days.
Was this just like a test? Who's actually going to be giving?
That's pretty damn good.
Well, you guys, we didn't. Now, honestly, I wasn't focused on the style as much as getting the information out.
Sure.
Because your feedback's good, and it would be a little bit different than that. But we cut so many slides, and several of them really filled what you guys need, but made me feel good because maybe we did have it. At some point, a video I think is good, but my son can do the stuff because he's into this where it animates. The voice comes over, and then it actually writes it out. I forget what it's called, but we were thinking about some of that as well. But it's got to be multimedia, and we just haven't got the video piece down yet.
He just said the why, though. He just, in a 2-minute elevator, he just said the why.
Yeah.
And that whole part that he just said in 2 minutes, without saying how long does it take to actually fulfill the order, was nowhere to be found.
That's a great point.
Well, and this is
And
this is the other side of my business.
You hit on it a little bit at the beginning with your background. It was,
But nothing like that succinct. I mean, there was passion. You were telling the story.
Yeah.
So I want
You had me.
I want to wrap some things
You
up
had the operation.
and put a Medici wrap around it. Go ahead, Brian.
No, the last thing I was going to say was is I appreciate being here. Chuck says to me, I'm going to be in St. Louis. I'm like, okay, when do we go? I didn't know what to expect on certain things. And to answer the question that was just posed, is that who's going to be doing the presentation? It's going to be both of us. But when you're seeing what I just did in that part, that's me. I'm a talker. And I'm sitting here already at my desk, kind of kicking this one, taking everything that we
You rattled off some marquee logos. You rattled off process. You rattled off the safety and.
No, dude, you're a closer. That's what you are.
done it before.
So we'll get a transcript of this so that you can actually see that,
that'd be
which
great.
would be awesome.
Exactly.
I want to kind of put the Medici wrapper on this, and I want to be mindful of anything else in the audience that we have topic-wise, because my wrap-up will be a segue into something Medici if there's nothing else that you guys as members want to talk about. So with that said, do you guys have, you can shut it off.
Okay.
You